questions when they sit there and stare at you.
Don't worry,
You know how that
I got
goes.
that covered. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, if you want to see, please grab
I'm
it.
gonna grab a couple chairs.
Yeah, that'd be, here, I'll get one.
Um,
Oh, great, thank you. Thanks, Chris.
yeah, let's get right to it.
Go to. Well, maybe a little background on you guys, on the things and people you played with, all that stuff.
I mean, my site is almost 20 years old. Like the guy that's building my new site right now said maybe I should keep it up because it'll be a classic soon. And it'll be like really funny for people to see, like, you know, what I was doing there. But I'm Ron, and this is Steve. This is my section leader, and maybe some of you guys section leader for the next couple of days. So everything I say in context here, you might hear me deferring to him often, just because he's the section leader on this particular project, and he's also one of the best educators that I know, and I've been teaching a long time, so I don't say that just because he's sitting next to me in a sectioner right here, right now, but I just happen to know that he's super dedicated. So we have so much information that we can share with you. I don't even know if getting out my horn is gonna make a lot of sense, but maybe we can get to that. I'd love to just get questions going, and the stuff about me that you can find it. Just Google Ron Blake. Most everything they say is true. Unfortunately. Don't go on YouTube because I mean there's still some recordings from back in the day that I'm still getting like okay, I was younger then and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And that's just what it is. So I'm finally at that age where I can like listen to some of that stuff and be like, I know what I was trying to get to. My intention was good.
That's right.
It was sincere.
You're further ahead than me. I can't listen to my stuff.
You still can't listen to
Turn it off.
finally starting to listen to my stuff,
I
man.
can't do it.
I know the feeling, believe me.
It's a thing.
I always tell them, skip my solos. Just go to the trumpet or piano solos. Drum solos. Skip mine.
Well, questions, maybe, or well, Steve, maybe a little of your background, just things, you know.
Like Ron, been doing this for a long time. Actually, Ron and I used to
Yeah, just leave it there.
used to teach. Well, Ron is still at Juilliard. He's been at how long now?
15 years.
Yeah. And I was there for a short period of time and had the real honor and pleasure of being his colleague there, but even more so had the pleasure of his friendship and camaraderie. We share a lot of saxophone stories and woes and, you know, geek talk and all of that, you know, so just as you would expect.
It doesn't change when you get
No,
older.
no.
I'll tell you that. Gear, reeds,
Yeah. the
ligatures,
concerns-
oh my God. Equipment. Ugh.
Yeah, the concerns are the same. It never goes away. It's a deep hole. But you know, music is, I think, something that chooses us. We don't choose it. You know, if you are really dedicated and love it, it's a calling. You know, so, and you know, we were talking just at the airport yesterday at the beginning of a very, very long day for both of us. And we actually ended up not on the same planes to get here. That's a whole other story. But the gist of that is, that's what they pay us for. They don't pay us for this. They pay us for the other stuff. We do this because we love it. And we do it for free, honestly. But let's see, I'll just give you a very brief background. Myself, I'm originally from Virginia, from Hampton, Virginia, to be exact. And I arrived in New York in 1987 and thought I'd give it, you know, like many of us do when you go to a new town, you say, well, let's see how it goes for about a year or two. And it's been the longest year of my life. I'm still there, you know, trying to, you know, give it the old try. But been very blessed and fortunate to work with a lot of great people, in different arenas, artists, a wide array of artists. Of course, we both have been with Christian in several Christians bands, and together Ron and I, and Ron was in one of Christian's first great ensembles, and that still has left a mark on the scene. And we're with the big band, and of course, with Roy Hargrove. But let's see, when did you come to New York?
I came in 1992.
Yeah, so not
Summer
far.
of 1992.
Yeah, and so in terms of, I've been listening to Ron's Graciously since he first got there, and we run a lot of the same circles, and some of the people I've worked with include Buster Williams, Chick Corea, Dave Holland. I've been with Maria Schneider's band now continuously for about 20 years. Yeah, no, time goes by fast. I still had hair when I joined her.
I remember when Maria and I went to school together in Miami, so I
wow.
I had moved to New York just before that, and I was on the road with Woody's band for a long time.
Okay,
so I was never around.
Yeah, you know.
I remember when Maria first was getting going.
Yeah,
so.
you remember the early days?
Oh,
John,
sure.
Yeah, the early days.
Morganson, all those guys.
Yeah. So he was there at the genesis of the band. So. Yeah. Let's see. I've been with Christian now for a long time, and two of his ensembles, the Big Band and Inside Straight. Buster Williams is probably the longest tenure I've had. I would assume that you all know who Buster Williams is, one of the all-time great bassists. I've been with him off and on, but mostly on since 1991. And he's been very gracious to, when I've had other commitments, I go out and do those, but I always seem to find my way back to him. So, and I have my own groups that I do. I'm currently a professor and director at CCNY, City College of New York. And in case you come to New York, it's uptown in Hamilton Heights, next to Harlem. One subway stop from Manhattan School of Music.
There you go.
So if you need a landmark, you can say CCNY. What is that? But yeah, we're right up the street. And that's a very brief synopsis of my background.
Way better than mine. That was hip. I was like, I almost feel like, okay, all right. Let me give you the 3-minute version. I came to New York in '92, like I said. I moved in, I tried it in '91, came and checked out the scene just to see what was going on. And then I was like, okay, this is what's going on. I'll be back in a year. At the time, I was teaching at University of South Florida, down in Tampa, where I taught for 2 years.
You know Chuck, then?
Yes,
Chuck,
very well.
Another good friend of mine, and his brother Steve, who's a great saxophonist.
Yeah.
I went to school with Steve in North Texas.
Great writers, great
Yeah,
writers,
very
yeah.
good.
So I was down there, way too young to be teaching. I was 25 years old. And then went to New York and came to New York in '92. So some real historical facts, so that you can start to see how the dots get connected, and network is so important. Like everyone that you're sitting next to right now is probably the most important people that you're gonna meet in your career moving ahead, so take note of it. I moved into a building, in with my best friend, Dion Parson, drummer. We would later form a band called the 21st Century Band, a Caribbean jazz band. We just celebrated 20 years just not too long ago.
Great band too.
But in the same building was a pianist by the name of Mark Carey. Mark Carey just happened to be on the working with Marlon Jordan.
Yeah.
And Betty Carter. And a young trumpet player by the name of Roy Hargrove. Roy Hargrove would come to Mark's apartment to hang out and play. In the summer that I moved to New York, there was the Young Lions band that went on tour.
Oh yes, okay.
Okay, some real history, young. So this is good. This is important. How things like sort of overlap and happen just by coincidence. So was that George Wein that put that band together, or was that
I'm not sure if it was Ween. I mean, he presented it.
He presented it.
Yeah.
So this was like a band that was put together of all the top young band leaders of the moment, right? That was 91 or 92, I can't remember. I think it was summer of 91. No, maybe summer of 91. I can't remember now exactly. But anyway, the cool thing about this is that they put a band together with all these band leaders, so all their bands were sitting at home for a summer in New York doing nothing. And I got to meet a lot of people. So when things started to change and things evolved and blah, 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 opportunities come out of those kinds of things. So Roy used to come and hang out uptown in Washington Heights. When he said Hamilton Heights, I laughed because that's a real estate term for Washington Heights or Sugar Hill area now. But that's how I got to meet Roy Hargrove, was because I used to hang out, Dion and I, and Dwayne Burno, who's, God rest his soul, Taurus Mateen also. We would all play at Mark's Place. Mark was like, the jam session was always happening in Mark's Place. So, oh, and Mark was also working with Arthur Taylor, name you should know. So because of those, just that one spot, I met Roy Hargrove, I met A.T. From that I got to sit in with Taylor's Wailers. From that, when Mark started his band, I was playing with him. When Antonio Hart left Roy Hargrove's band, I had been playing with Roy every day, very casually, you know. So, make sure you know the people that you're sitting next to really well, because that's kind of how it works. So I came to New York then, but I'm from the Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. Classically trained saxophonist, so we could get into that for sure. I went to Northwestern, studied with Fred Hemke, and I started playing around Chicago before I moved. So some of your professors that I know real well, because they were my mentors, like Joan and Joel were, and Kelly Sill.
Yeah, Larry's here too, Larry Gray.
Larry? Oh, wow. Okay, well, y'all know everyone that I knew as a kid. I was trying to figure out how to play. Von Freeman was still alive. Bunky Green was still on the scene.
Bumpy. Oh. Wow.
So,
I worked with Bumpy no letter.
You know, that's kind of, so my upbringing was Chicago, which was a real strong breeding ground at the time for young players, because you could really connect with a lot of older cats. The thing I always dug about Chicago that amazed me and kind of confused me when I moved to New York. In Chicago, people could see that your interest and potential and desire to get into playing, and they would just call you for any kind of gig. So very early on, I was playing, you know, with older cats playing straight ahead, with younger cats playing straight ahead, playing like on the Bulls scene. You guys heard of that club, the Bulls? It's gone now. But they did like mostly like instrumental R&B, like the instrumental, whatever instrumental fusion, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's where I met like Daryl Jones. He was on the road with Miles Davis at the time. He came and sat in with the band I was working with there.
Wow.
You could play like the Green Mill scene. That's kind of where my start was. Started working with some of the cats from Art Ensemble of Chicago while we were on that. But it would be like, oh, you want to play? I played in reggae bands. I played in blues bands. Then I moved to New York, and I thought it was going to be like that. New York is like, oh, if they see me walking down the street with Steve Wilson, by association, they're like, oh, he plays that kind of music.
Right.
Whatever, that's it. And nobody else is, that's.
Right.
So New York, you gotta kind of like, it helps to go far and wide as you're establishing your thing, especially if you have interest in playing a lot of different kinds of music stylistically. Otherwise, you can get pigeonholed and it's
don't even have to take the horn out of the case to get pigeonholed.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me when I got to 87.
That's funny.
When I got to 87, and started going out, and and I really went to New York, just to get to all the music, and even more so to hear a lot of the heroes that I saw on the zines of LPs, the Kenny Barons, the Victor Lewises, the Marvin Stams, and so, but when you got to hang at these clubs, it was one of two things. Oh, you must be from New Orleans. No.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you must be the Steve Coleman M-Bass thing. It was either or. It was so binary, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
That's funny.
I said, don't get. I said, I love both of those things. I'm here to check it all out.
Yeah.
But that's what it was. And I'm glad you said about Chicago, because there's something I often talk about. I talk about it with Greg Ward. That Chicago is very, to me, magical in that way. And you can see that legacy in the Chicago musicians. Bunky Green, you mentioned. If you've ever heard this record, Soul in the Night, Bunky Green with Sonny Stitt, 1966. Yeah. Killing record on Chess Records. You know who the drummer is in that record? Any guess? Maurice White, the founder of Earth, Wind and Fire, swinging his behind off. Wow. And playing the kind of swing that can't be taught. So Chicago is that scene. It's an all-inclusive scene. And that's what I find. I often feel like I'm more Chicago at heart than New York, because really there's no separating the music. Everyone's they understand that it's all music, and embrace all of the music. And to me, of many rather, but for me personally, because this is the first guy I probably listened to and came to love early on in my childhood, even before I could play the saxophone, and that's Eddie Harris. Yeah. And Eddie Harris was, to me, especially on the saxophone level, he embodied all of that, because he if you follow his body of work over the 47 years that 50 I think, that he recorded, he covered it all, everything. And he was innovative. So all of this altissimo stuff that tenor players love to do now, this part of the horn, he was doing that back in the early 60s. And not just squeaking and squawking, but playing melodies up there. Yeah. Among other things, he studied in Paris for a minute. He basically created the electric saxophone. He was the one that innovated that. I mean, because he worked with Veritone and Maestro and those companies. Also created something called a reed trumpet. Had a saxophone mouthpiece for the trumpet and the trombone. Played straight ahead, played funk, avant-garde, you name it, he did it, and he was his own person. So to me, he was like the embodiment of that culture. Not only just that, but the whole history of music. Yeah. The whole history.
That's because I remember, I always tell this story too. There's one night I went to see Vaughn was playing doing the classic tenor battle thing at the Green Mill with Ed Peterson. Ed Peterson? Another bad dude. Whew. Yeah. And they were playing Stella by Starlight. I love telling this story. And Ed Peterson, left no stone unturned. I mean, just... he just killed it. And then there was a piano solo. Vaughn was up there, sunglasses, as always. I think he had on the white frames that night, just chilling. And then Vaughn came up and started to play. And Vaughn started around Prez. And he must have played, I don't know, close to 50 choruses. And by the time he was done, it was like Sun Ra. And he played the whole history.
There you go.
Of modern music through improvised modern music, jazz as we call it, and I was like, that's what I want to get to. Yeah. I want to, aspire to that. But when you said that about, because I had one encounter. Eddie, I was playing at Vaughn's birthday party. I was thinking it was his 75th birthday party or 80th birthday party at the new apartment lounge. And I was in town. And I'm up there and I'm
playing, and Eddie comes in, and I don't know if you remember the new apartment, but like you walked in the door and the stage was like right there. It was like a little step up thing. Like,
Oh, but
right
no, I never went there.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was on 75th. Right, it was. I didn't go there often, and it was like a electric blue, like the padded bar, you know, like
Oh, really?
real like out of a 70s like movie kind of vibe, you know, like Superfly and that kind
Yeah,
of.
right.
It was like that kind. It was like and I'm up there playing, and this other cat that went to school with Vaughn and them, that he would always show up and sit in at the showcase like on a cornet or a metal clarinet, and I would be like, and I'd see this cat, and I'd be like, why would people let him sit in? Why would? But that night he had his tenor,
Oh.
and I realized he was a tenor player. He just got tired of playing tenor, and this cat like blew me off the bandstand. But anyway, that's another story. Eddie Harris is like, he comes in the door, and I'm like here playing, and he's standing like right here, and he's looking at me play. He doesn't say anything. He's got on a bad full-length leather coat because his Vaughn's birthday is in October. It was cold in Chicago already. So I get off the bandstand, and I was like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. He says, oh, what's your sign?
That was him.
I said, Virgo. He says, He says, you know what that means? I said, no. He says, that means that I can play everything that you play backwards. And he turned around and he walked away, and that's all he said to me the whole night. That was like that was my encounter with Eddie Harris. Woo! Talk about intimidation. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
It was a good learning experience nonetheless. I still can't play half the stuff he played, so I'm like, yeah, you're probably right.
Wow.
But listen, man, what can we do for y'all? I mean, we could sit here and tell y'all stories all day, but I mean, if some of y'all would like to play for us, or I mean, like have real questions about, because I feel like I can get to a lot more if I hear like 2 minutes of somebody playing an instrument, or like just get into a discussion.
Matthew
Please.
and maybe Andrew, how about you two?
Everybody,
guys?
everybody,
Yeah,
anybody.
We'll play, maybe have fun too.
Any classical players here? Also, study classical as well. Excellent, excellent.
Great.
Very good to know.
Yeah,
Huh?
Matthew,
What's
the
that?
tenor player. Sorry.
Classical students too.
Excellent. Who's the classical teacher here now?
Deborah, right by. She's
Deborah?
studying with Fred.
Whoa! Tell her I said hello.
Yeah.
Oh man.
She's been here a long time. I knew Deborah from way back. That's part of the reason I came here 20 years ago to start the programs, because I'd been on the road for all those times, like when you were New York.
Yeah.
I'd come back and forth, and I was just on the road with everybody, and with Woody's band, and then Maynard's band, and then Arturo, and a lot of the
Right.
a bunch of people. Anyway, I came back here to start this 20 years ago because they didn't have degrees. So I
Oh.
started the degree programs. And
Oh,
Deborah's the one that called me, and when I was in North Texas years ago, in the 1 o'clock, she was, I was the guy right before, Jim Snydero and I were in the band together.
Oh, okay.
Those at Tim, Reese, we were all
Yeah.
Rickenberg. And anyway, but she was the TA at North Texas when I was there as a
Yes.
student, and then she had come here.
Oh,
She
wow.
called me about this gig,
Fantastic.
Does somebody
Oh,
have
That's very cool.
let me show you how
Small world.
It is. It is.
packed I still am. I left my neck strap in my, or a harness type thing
I have an extra strap.
that I can borrow just for,
Or did you leave it in the other?
it's in my suitcase.
Oh, it's at the hotel.
It's at the
Oh,
hotel.
okay.
The spongier one would really be cool if you don't mind.
This hook sometimes comes undone.
Yeah, don't worry. If I play, it'll be like 3 notes, literally.
Okay.
But any questions while people are coming down? Like, real anything? Oh yeah, my man.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. No hard feelings. I'll get this back to you afterwards. I'm like, actually, you know what? Did you get this on Amazon?
Yeah.
This is gonna break. What do you play, alto or tenor?
Alto.
Okay, you may be cool. I broke one of these, so I'm not gonna use it on my tenor just because this hook is really cheap.
Oh, really?
Just so you know. I had one. I love the way it felt, but I broke it. Fortunately, I was holding onto my hand.
Oh, you mean
To the
broke
horn.
the horn?
While I was playing, yeah.
Wow.
Just so you, yeah, because I was like, wait, I remember that, and then I was like, then that trauma cave. So no questions at all? Yes.
I got one. You mentioned like obviously your admiration for older players and
Yeah.
you know how they have an effect on you. Are there any younger players that you look at today that you're like, wow, like I wish, you know, what they're doing on the horn is really incredible.
Man, I think there's like so much of that now. Honestly, I mean, and I'm being recorded, so I'm going to be careful of how I say this. But I mean, I think that, you know, in some ways, there's more emphasis on that sort of like incredible. So, are there people that are playing like a high level of music or like seem to embody a wealth of, you know, music and are doing something like cool with it? I think, yeah, there's a handful for sure that are really at a high level. I mean, some of my old students, and not because they were my students, but I just know them more personally, and I've seen their development, their growth over the past several years. Some of my contemporaries, obviously, still doing it, you know. So, any names? You want me to just like
Oh, no,
call out names or something? But yeah, I do. I mean, I don't listen to enough music because I'm trying to practice more myself these
Right.
days because I have more time to finally. So, but yeah, I listen to everything. I check out, you know, and now that we're kind of getting back up and going again, I like to go out and hear live music.
Yeah.
I'm finding myself doing that more than I did before the pandemic. You know, just because you can feel something, and that's a lot of times, for me anyway. I don't know, I mean, Steve can speak to that, I'm sure, very similar kind of thing. I mean, I've heard some incredible technicians, and I don't want to say this like and sound like an old man, but I've heard some incredible technicians that have not left an incredible impression on my spirit after hearing them perform. You know? And I've heard some people playing some really far out shit too, on the saxophone in particular, but also I like felt something. When they played, I tend to gravitate towards those players more. Even some of the people that are not playing as much saxophone technically as some of the other cats. Just works out that way. For me anyway, it's just like, the reason I started listening to the music and got so into it was because I felt something, and that hasn't really changed. So I'm not necessarily impressed, and now I feel like more than ever before, you know, please jump in anytime and save me from drowning here, Steve. But I mean, I feel like there's a high level of musicianship because there's like there's information like ad nauseum, and you can go down any path you want to, but it seems like a lot of people get into like being able to do the impossible, and somehow thinking that translates to good music, and I think that's bullshit.
Okay.
You can edit. So.
Believe me, they've heard that a lot.
Any more questions, or should we let these guys play a little bit?
Sure, let's have them play, and you guys can.
I want all y'all to. I want to hear everybody. I don't care if you play classical, saxophone, or whatever. I'd love to just hear what y'all are. Just while we have time. I want to see if this saxophone plays. Actually, what are they doing?
Oh, that's.
Probably playing some tune. I don't know. What are y'all doing?
Voyage.
Woo!
Oh, right.
That's the one with the bridge.
That's that.
With that bridge. That's the one with the bridge. So, just for the sake, and I'm not trying to like kill your vibe, but just for the sake of getting to as many people as possible, you know, just get to your shit.
Yeah,
and get out.
I'm the sub pianist today, too, sorry. I'm a saxophone player.
Okay, alright. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, you're at Masters, sorry. Yeah, he's.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't understand what any of that means. What?
He's an undergraduate,
Yeah.
first year undergraduate,
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
second year master's student, so finishing up his master's degree.
Got you.
I
Okay.
just finishing my doctoral degree. Finishing doctoral degree?
First year.
First year, yeah, okay, sorry.
Okay.
And
And
he's a
then
freshman.
freshman, first year
Cool.
undergraduate.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Very cool. So, what do you want? Should we hear more, or do you want me to give some comments, or, yeah, a little
Either
bit,
way.
no?
What
Do
would you
y'all
add?
want comments, or no?
Well, maybe while it's fresh in your mind, and then we'll
Sure,
get some
yeah.
money on the play.
I mean, I'd like overall, like a sense of time. I feel like, you can
Andrew.
play the room, Andrew?
Oh, the drummer,
Yes.
that's
Chris.
Chris.
Chris, I think you can play the room a little bit more. Like it was hard for me, even though they were standing in front of you, it was hard for me to hear the horn players. So volume wise, I thought you could be a little bit more complimentary. I'm not sure, could you hear them when they were playing?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm standing in front of, yeah, I'm sitting on this side, and you were most of what I could hear, like when the horn players were blowing. Like I could hear them, but I was like, so I think just maybe think about, you can have as much intensity at a lower volume. This room is kind of booming, it sounds like, so it's just like, ah! So it's not your fault, but I mean, it's like just knowing your surroundings kind of thing. Nice sound, really nice sound. I want your saxophone. Yeah. Seriously. Are you on the gig this weekend?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think so.
damn.
Uh,
Okay. Oh well.
I play the
Both
lead
these tenor
tenor.
players are the two tenor
Yeah,
players
we
in
play
the band,
tenor
so
in the band,
what
so
are
I
you
play-
guys
I don't know what
doing
you're
the
playing.
blowing, or you're gonna play the section stuff, or
We
these
have
guys
to
can
talk about
do
it.
it if you want.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay.
That's above my pay grade.
Okay.
Well, we'll show up and.
Yeah, they'll be
Cool.
there.
If I'm not playing, you're welcome to.
Yeah, that horn sounds amazing. I was just gonna say, just off the top of my head, I kind of feel like a little bit, you can, maybe loosen up, not loose, I don't wanna say loosen up. Like, I think I felt like I heard like a lot of articulation,
I see, okay.
you know?
Yeah.
So maybe like listening to that and how it actually like affects the time and the flow of the time with your
Gotcha.
lines.
Yeah,
Might be something you might listen for when you're practicing.
sure.
You know, across the board. I could hear that. But I like overall, the core of your sound is really
Thank you.
nice,
Great.
for sure. I thought you could play, and I know you're gonna hate this, because I know you have to articulate everything. But I thought I could hear like more, like syncopation or articulation, especially when you were playing the melody. With the horn, it was like you've worked so hard to like make it sound like you're not tonguing everything, that it's almost like too smooth. So I think you can interject like, or more inflection, and almost like you're like a drummer. You know, like how a drummer is complimenting you, or playing the snare drum and stuff, like playing behind you, like that kind of thing. Like maybe some of in your lines. That's just off the top of my head. Like your sound, eventually you'll put more air into the horn, but I kind of liked idea-wise and just like the collection of sounds and stuff that you were working with, and I was like, I heard a little Benny Golson-y kind of stuff, and I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
it was really cool. But ultimately, I think a part of it is your setup.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit tighter and kind of like more of a, kind of coming more from up here kind of sound.
Okay.
It has like more high end in
Yeah.
it. So I'd love to see what happens if you had like, there's a baffle in that mouthpiece, right? A bit of a baffle?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So maybe, over time, or maybe even just a different ligature.
Yeah.
What kind of mouthpiece is that?
This is one of the Van Doren V16
Yeah.
little ones.
Yeah, yes. Definitely. You just need to check out some other stuff, I would say. I love the bass player. I thought I couldn't hear lines so much.
Okay.
I won't lie to you.
Yeah.
Don't get mad at me. I'm trying to like, you know, it's like one of the things that I try to, hip young drummers to like really early on, because there's like, for example, to be like something specific, like the way your 2 feel and your 4/4 felt was like different, but also the dynamics were different. Of course, you're trying to play lighter on the 2 feel thing, and then you are swinging on the bridge, but like it energetically, it wasn't in the same place, and I kind of felt like it broke up the continuity of the tune a little bit. But so that's more musical. The other thing about like playing in different rooms and everything, I think is going to come with time, and the more control you have of on the instrument, you know, like just your whole range of dynamics and stuff will blossom for sure. You know. All right, who's next? What else we got?
Thank you.
I see some more horns out.
Come on down.
Thank you all so much. Yeah,
Thanks for
man.
the beautiful comments. And I love that you said some things that they have heard before. It'll take on 10 times the weight.
I mean, if you don't play jazz, I just want to hear you play your instrument. Y'all are going to school, so that means, and it's the end of the school year, so y'all should have something. I like your burpees. Woo, bring
Thank you.
burpees back.
They're off-brand.
Really?
Yeah, they're like $20 on Amazon.
Oh my God, check you
Like
out.
that next strap.
Oh,
Like that next strap, right? Are they gonna,
Yeah, I haven't seen Birkenstocks
in a while, right? I'm like, oh, I'm back in college.
so we got Grace and Nathan and Brian.
Right.
And notice we've had 2 trombone players already in a saxophone clinic. What does that tell you?
You have no trumpet players at this school.
Yeah.
Pick a different instrument.
Yeah.
There you go.
So what would you guys, or what would you guys like to hear?
What would you guys like to play? No, I want them to play something that they're super comfortable with.
Body? Okay, sure.
What?
There we go. Look at that. I called a ballad. Stunning.
Ballad.
Okay. Count it off, somebody. Or do you want the?
Three of you. I like all of your sounds. Each of you wonderful sound, first of all. And I really admire your storytelling. I don't know if that's something you talk about in lessons or in classes or just in your general aesthetic, but it's great to hear the storytelling element in your solos and not just trying to play the changes. That's refreshing. It's really refreshing. So I compliment you highly on that. Thank you.
Hey.
And that's something that translates to all genres of music, the storytelling. You know, so especially if you're playing a piece, if it's a concerto or whatever it is, you know, you have to internalize it and interpret it so that it goes out to the listener. Because oftentimes, you know, we forget that we're only part of the equation in terms of, you know, music, because it's a shared experience. So, you know, it's good to remember that, hey, we're playing for people who are listening to us. and we're trying to communicate to them, you know, and communicate the music, communicate our story, and bring the listener into the song, you know, or the, you know, the lyric or whatever, you know, the story. So it's really great to hear the storytelling aspect in each of your solos. Thank you for that. A lot of patience. That's what I was impressed with. Just a lot of patience. Nothing felt like, okay, got to get it in there. You know, it's so refreshing, man. It really is.
Good. Thank you.
So I'm going to assume that along with your good taste and listening, that your teachers have a lot to do with that. So my compliments to them too. Whatever the sources may be, but that for me particularly goes a long way. It goes back to something Ron said at the beginning. You know, we talked about hearing a lot of great technical players, and that's fantastic, don't get me wrong. But if the technique doesn't serve the story, what's the point? You know, because here's the thing. We can guarantee you this, that, and this is for every instrument, and again, probably across every genre. Every 3 to 4 years, you're going to hear the next level of technical mastery. Number one is human nature. To just keep going. You know, that's just part of our quest, is to see how far can we take this medium, this instrument, or whatever it might be. So that's going to happen. You know, just like in any discipline, whether it's in the arts or anything else, it's always going to go to the next level. You know, but what is the end game of that? You know, is it just to impress? Is it just to achieve that? Just to say, okay, I did it? You know, it's kind of like when a certain saxophone player some years ago decided to set the world record for, the so-called world record for circular breathing. And what was the point of that? First of all, circular breathing has been around for thousands of years.
Right.
So it ain't nothing new. So what was the point of that? Just to get in the Guinness Book of World Records? Really? Okay. So I use that. I won't mention the name, you know. But just speak to an example, like to the point of, well, you know, we use these instruments as that's our medium to tell our story. You know, that has to come from you, and the conception starts here, comes through the heart, you know, and out of your instrument, whatever that is, and you tell the story, you know. So that's why it's just so refreshing to hear each of these solos, man. Just like, wow, beautiful. Just thank you for that.
Thank you. Lady and gents. Would you guys like to play anything or do something like that just for a second? We've got just a few minutes. I don't want to keep you too long because we're already.
Does anybody else,
Yeah,
anybody else want to
anybody
get
else
up and get in the mix?
Come on. Here's your chance.
No?
Be brave.
Or we can play something together too. You know?
Yeah, right.
That's what I was
what
thinking,
mean.
just, you know.
Come on down. Somebody else. Anybody else?
I don't know if
Andy?
my horn is working.
You're good. Cameron? Jonathan? Oh yeah, come on, Jamie. You can we'll switch drummers here. How about that? We'll get this printed on mine. You might as well speak if you want. Jonathan, you be brave.
Sure.
Come on, this is the best part of the day. You get to play.
There you go.
Man, every time I get to pick up my horn, that's like by far the
Yes.
best time of the day.
I don't want to rush you, but we got 3 artists in town, so.
Oh, you got another thing going on.
Well, we got Tosh, we got Mark Morris, we got.
Oh, I thought because normally at this time it's Chip Stevens combo in here.
Yeah, no, I just want to do that.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, let's do one thing.
Yeah,
quick with
just
these.
want to let you know.
Okay,
Thanks, sorry to interrupt.
that's your right.
What's happening?
No, that's the ride back to the hotel.
Oh,
Yeah, so
oh well.
they were scheduled at 5 and we're right at 5.
Oh, okay.
We're not.
Yeah, I know you guys don't want to.
Second.
Something the lame piano player knows.
There you go. Oh, they can't. Oh, okay.
Okay, Cameron, good, great.
There we go.
Cameron's a junior.
All right.
What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Blues it? I could fake it.
What keys it is?
It's been a while, but
A flat? B flat, okay. Do you know the melody? Okay, good. I'll take it. Have I played that tune ever?
I know, it's one you learn, you know, that nobody will learn. Where do you want it, Cameron? You're doing it in 4 or 3?
3. I'm at 1.
Well, you do it. Oh, that, okay. Saturday, May 1st, Christian McBride and these young gentlemen will be playing
Yeah.
the movement revisiting. I bet you're almost a little younger than me. So that's the only reason I said. So, please come May 1st at Cranard Center and Colwell Playhouse. You'll get to hear these wonderful gentlemen play a lot more for the movement revisited by Christian McBride. How about a hand for great Steve Wilson, the great Ron Blake. Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Student tickets are free. Just go to the website, choose the student option.
There you go.
It'll be pretty sure.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Yeah.